I'm here on the Muur van Geraardsbergen, the final battleground for so many years in the Tour of Flanders.
Oh, sorry mate, sorry I'm late. Took me a while to get ready this morning.
Si, is that you?
Well, kind of. Today, Matthew, I am Johan Museuuw.
I'm not sure Johan Museuuw will be particularly happy with you saying that, but anyway.
Well, no, that is a fair point. However, I do have Johan Museuuw's very bike that he used in the 2000 Tour of Flanders. That's right, the era-defining Colnago C40.
Well, that's a little bit of a coincidence because I happen to be sat astride the Trek Domane belonging to Yaroslav Popovych, which he rode in the Classics campaign in 2016.
You know what, Matt? I wonder if they should put these through their paces.
Do you mean a retro v modern?
Classic special?
Let's do it. Firstly, Si, I think we need to put the bike into a little bit of context, or the rider, in fact, Johan Museuuw, an utter legend of the sport, world road race champion, 3 times winner of Paris-Roubaix, and 3 times winner of the Tour of Flanders. He is the Lion of Flanders and an absolute living legend, without a shadow of a doubt.
That is right. And arguably though, this bike, the C40, is even more iconic than its former rider. So when it was introduced for the first time in secret into Pro Peloton, it was 1993. And in 95, it actually became the first carbon bike to win Paris-Roubaix. And it amassed an incredible number of victories until it was eventually retired from the Pro Peloton about a decade later. Now, I said it was carbon, but it's carbon in a very different way to yours, even though they share the same material, because it was made by bonding carbon tubes to carbon lugs. And it gives this one very, very big advantage, and it can be made to be entirely custom. So this is Johan Museuuw's own personal custom geometry. And it is certainly quite a unique feeling bike to ride, that's for sure.
Well, this is, of course, this Trek Domane is made of the same material, carbon fibre, but it's a little bit different. It's made in a mould, it's monocoque, and the riders of Trek didn't have the luxury of having custom frames made, but they did have a race-specific limited edition geometry, which had limited availability to the general public as well. Built in to this frame, as you can see, was an IsoSpeed decoupler, adjustable from the rear, giving the bike quite remarkable vertical compliance, and of course the bike itself tremendously stiff.
Well, that is a funny point, actually, the stiffness side of things, because yeah, with its skinny tubes, this one definitely doesn't look anywhere near as stiff. And I think if I was to really stamp on the pedals, I'd probably find it very different to that one. But the comfort, even though it has no IsoSpeed decouplers, it is still a very comfortable bike. And I think that comes down, firstly to those skinny tubes again, then also to the choice of wheels. So even in 2000, classics riders were still using these box section aluminium wheels. And they are significantly more comfortable, although less aerodynamic, than your deep section carbon bad boys there.
How does it feel like that? That was the Bosberg, by the way, we just rode up. How does it feel? You look pretty comfy. It's a really laid back position, but I tell you what, Si, you look like you could be Johan Museuuw.
Oh, Matt, that is the nicest thing anyone's ever said to me. Like a slow Johan Museuuw.
Look at that.
Yeah.
How does it feel though? Because you're very, very long. I mean, the position's quite aero itself, but how does it kind of handle?
I tell you what, position is a really, really interesting thing, because even though this is entirely custom, he's put a 140 stem on here, but yeah, there's hardly any drop between the saddle and the bars. So although I'm still super stretched out, it contrasts completely with modern day race bikes. And aside from handling, well, kind of slow actually, it feels really good. feels like I could just cruise around on this all day, just effortlessly floating through the bunch.
I think another thing we need to mention, we've talked about the frames, talked about handling of the bike. What about gears? Because on this bike, of course, I've got Shimano Di2 giving me a really wide gear ratio, 11 to 28 I think is on this bike, 22 gears to choose from, whereas back in 2000, as I remember well, I was racing as a pro back then, far more limited availability as well, a limited range of gear, sorry.
That's right, so this C40 has got Shimano Dura 7700 on there, which actually, this is the 25th anniversary group set, so particularly special. And I think, you correct me if I'm wrong, it was introduced back in 1996 and actually wasn't changed until 2004. And so yeah, we've only got 9 speed at the back, and Museuuw rode 3953 chain rings in Flanders, and with a 1223 or 1123 block, I think. But the fact that this group set didn't change for 8 years and the frame didn't change for 10 means that even just, 17 years ago, pros didn't change bikes half as much as they do now. There was much slower turnover of technology, wasn't there?
Definitely. I think another interesting point about your gear selection, a narrower range of gears, and Museuuw actually used to ride 177.5 cranks, whereas Popovych 172.5s, a smaller rider, but that just shows about this leverage and the sort of slower gears, lower cadence over the climbs as well.
Yeah, these are monster cranks, 177.5.
You're rolling them beautifully.
There's a reason why I'm pedaling at 50 RPM. It's just a cruiser, this bike. A cruiser that's also won, like, the Tour of Flanders, the Paris-Roubaix.
Privilege.
And the Worlds.
I tell you what, Si, the top of the Bosberg, the other side, I might just give it a bit of a nudge on the cobbled descent. You coming with me?
To be honest with you, I'll probably just go a bit. It's Belgian heritage. I think I might walk.
You sure?
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Belgian heritage. Imagine what they'd do if I broke Johan's bike. Here he comes, Mr. Modern Day, cruising down on his cobble eater.
Outside.
Heritage.
Si, we're heading towards the Muur.
Yeah.
Fancy, for old time's sake, giving it a nudge.
A retro modern race.
Definitely.
Go for it. Hey Matt, who do you think would have won, Cancellara or Museuuw?
Well, Si, what an absolutely wonderful ride that was. A mini cycling pilgrimage.
Yeah.
And I could tell by the look on your face. Now, and out on the road, you were having a whale of a time.
I did have a whale of a time. I was a little bit unsure about that bike to start with because it felt so different. The position and the geometry was just so different to what I'm normally used to. But by the end, it was like it was on rails. It was so fast and super duper stiff. One issue though that I think we need to address before everyone raises it in the comments is that for a lot of you, and us included, the year 2000 doesn't actually feel all that long ago, but in bike terms, I think these two are like chalk and cheese.
Yep.
There is an awful lot that has happened in the last 17 years. And so actually the year 2000, when you're looking at a classic bike like that, is definitely retro. 17 years prior to that, so 1983, probably not quite so much had changed really, just toe clips and straps and down tube shifters.
And maybe, I think, a difference in weight, but in terms of look and geometry, pretty much the same.
Yeah.
But what about the other key factor about a retro bike? The aesthetic, the look of the bike. I mean, both bikes are beautiful, but in particular Colnago, it's got this real sense of reverence. It's almost a piece of art.
Yeah, it is a piece of art, isn't it? We are super, super lucky to have that. It must be said though, that if I was going to have a bike to ride now, I'd go for the Trek. I'd go for the modern bike, the kind of riding that I do, short, fast, full gas efforts now. That Trek is just robust and it's fast and you just look like you want to thrash it.
I think whatever the road threw up it today, it ate it for breakfast. That descent of the Bosberg, I just wanted to go faster and faster. The bike had no problem dealing with the cobbles, even at really high speed. But yeah, that is the way to go. But perhaps this one, a nice, gentle, tranquil ride to the cafe, perhaps.
One day I will have a classic bike and ride to the cafe.
Definitely. Now, for all things cycling, your one-stop shop, in fact, how about clicking on the globe? And that way you will not miss another GCN video.
That's right, make sure you subscribe. And then, if you want more content, well, why not click just over there where Matt got to ride a bike even older than Johan Museu's Colnago C40, a genuine retro piece, the 1987 Battalion of Stephen Roach.
Now right now I'm sat next to Simon Richardson dressed as Johan Museuw. If you want to see the real Johan Museuw in conversation with myself, how about clicking just down here?